Hello everyone, welcome to Onyx Earth Tarot. Everything you need to know about me is in the description box below. So today's pick a card reading is going to be, what's this person's fantasy about you? And yes, it is a sexual fantasy. This is an 18 plus reading. I'm putting all of that in the description. So if you are not 18 plus, scram. This is not for you. Not that I have viewers I feel that are really young, but if you stumble upon this and you're not of age, it's time to dip. Basically, this is going to be a timeless reading like we normally do. But I do have, as I was starting pile one, the energy of that pile just was really intense, and it kind of slapped me in the face. So I stopped shuffling and I started to film so that we could have a conversation about the feminine and masculine polarities, just because I feel like it helped, like it applies to all of my readings, and I think to some degree it could just be helpful, but it was very relevant to that pile. So if you feel called to watch pile one, you definitely want to check it out, but you don't have to. Everyone's welcome to watch it, just because I think it's helpful for like what I'm talking about in my readings. But like I said, choice is yours. So let's get into it. We're going to do this like we normally do. It's going to be 1, 2, 3 from left to right. And I'll give you a second to select your pile. If you need more time, go ahead and pause the video. Okay, so I stopped shuffling for pile one just because some energy hit me very hard, and I think we're gonna have a conversation because, and this is very relevant for pile one specifically. I haven't done 2 or 3. I'm still shuffling for 1, but this pile, some new people stepped in, which I'm very sensitive to it because we have a very small community here. So when we have new people coming in, stepping into the pile, it gets very interesting. So hopefully this isn't too long. I'm not going to, I'm going to put timestamps for this specific section. Like I'm not going to tie it into pile one, for those of you that just want to get to the reading, but I'm gonna make sure I encourage those of you that's selecting pile one to watch this, and everyone else, just because it's relevant when you're selecting piles as we talk about the dynamic of the polarity of masculine and feminine energy. Because, and I'm gonna talk about pile one here just because that's where the energy came through. So like we're talking about what's this person's fantasy about you, and like what are they dreaming, daydreaming, thinking, manifesting, their first sexual experience or their next sexual experience, or just even if it never happens, what they would like sex to be with you to be like. So many perspectives hit me. Again, a lot of new people because this is a small community. But like one of the energies I got was that the more masculine person is the person you're asking about, or that you're both equally as masculine in nature. Like I said, I'm taking this section to be clearer just because I think it's important for all my readings, and I don't want pile one to be confusing or for anyone to feel excluded or left out in the way that I attempt to describe the energy, because it's a general reading. I don't want to say collective because people are selecting their pile, so it's not everyone, but everyone's selecting this group. It's just so many energies stepping in, and I want to try to cover as many of them as possible. So basically, for that pile, the people are almost mirroring and reflecting one another, and the energies are not confusing. They're just mixing and blurring. intertwining in a way where it's almost, if you were to have sex with this person, if you selected pile one, it would almost be like you combine into one. I know people say that a lot when talking about sex, but like you all, like what the person's energy is lacking, your energy has, it's just a balance. So when you combine, it all merges together and kind of makes, I don't want to say a whole, but that completed feeling, right? So basically, that range of masculine to feminine, how we all, like, we all embody varying degrees of both. I know, like, I'm hoping most of you know that. If you don't, that's fine. We all have varying degrees of both masculine and feminine energy. And, you know, there's feminines with the masculine edge, masculines with the feminine edge. I've seen some purely feminine people, some very in their whole being masculine people. It's rare to be an extreme case of either, but that exists in the polarity of the world, right? So, like I said, it's relevant. It's very relevant to the reading. So I definitely, like, at first I wanted to kind of merge this into pile one because it's mostly relevant to that pile so far, but I have to pull it out. It's just, it's going to take over that reading, and I want to stay on topic when I do, because I didn't even pull the tarot cards yet. I just have a stack of oracles. So I don't want to get off topic when I move into that pile. So this has to be separate. But basically, in me seeing new people, and there's always been people, varying types of people and personalities here, but I'm seeing more same-sex, more multi-gendered couplings, and straight couplings that are not necessarily traditional energy matches. I'm going to describe what I mean by that. And honestly, be talking about this masculine feminine polarity, I'm going to use personality descriptions based on me and people I know. And if you're watching this and you did pick pile one, and you're watching this prior to or even after, this can be confirmation on whether or not you picked the right pile, because you'll know if I'm describing your energy or your person's energy. Because again, pile one prompted this whole side, not reading, because we got off topic with this one. We did not completely. It's a related topic, but yeah. So it really makes sense that there's more same-sex, like I said, multi-gendered couplings and non-traditional straight couples stepping into that pile, because it's just a very dynamic energy. And okay, so since I read energy in my day-to-day life, I'll like I said, I'll just get into those descriptions of people and myself as I encounter people, so you can see what I mean by the energy of each individual and as the two people as they come into union. Okay, so okay, I'll pick on myself first. Let's start with me. So I myself am straight. I'm a biological woman, and I'm very feminine in energy, feminine in nature. My spirituality is feminine. Everything at my core is feminine, okay? And it translates over, not that it necessarily matters, to the way I carry myself physically, like my physical appearance and such, okay? There's not, to my knowledge, any person that encounters me, even at face value, or psychic or energy readers that would use the word masculine to describe my nature, my energy at its core, okay, that I give off. I'm also attracted to very masculine energy and personality types. Um, that said, I am very masculine in my approach to life and the way that I assess it. So my nature is feminine. I'm inclined to act naturally from a feminine perspective, but I react and adjust from a masculine energy. Okay? I'll describe what I mean by that in a second. Like, I have this other friend. I say other friend, but like I was talking about me at first. But I have a friend that is feminine all around. In reading her energy, like the way she acts and reacts to life naturally, and calculating the way she calculates life. I don't know if that phrase makes sense, but you know what I mean. It's feminine. She has a complete imbalance in terms of masculine energy, and she's going through things in her life currently that are making her adjust. She's not spiritual, so she does not necessarily realize that yet, but like the things she's experiencing in her life is because she has such an imbalance. She's on one complete side of the polarity, and she's needing to kind of move a little closer to the middle so that she can find the contentment she desires. But I have this other friend that very much intrigued me. I'm still intrigued by this friend just because to this day I'm not quite certain I've met a person whose energy reads like that. I say that because I remember the first time I met her, and I immediately knew that I was in the presence of a powerful masculine. Okay? And it's not odd that that people that you would think, quote unquote, are feminine have a masculine core. That's not what it is. What the energy hit me very hard that I was in a powerful presence of a powerful masculine. I'm saying I've never had a person whose energy at the core was masculine hit me as rapidly as she did. So that was what intrigued me, was that not only have I never been hit by this wave of a powerful masculine before. Okay, I definitely have. But she's the second. Yeah, she was. Well, I met her first, so she was the first. But the second one, did I meet her first? Okay, so I was rambling, so I stopped and I cut it out. So the reason why this situation with this person was interesting is because this is a straight biological woman that is radiating this energetic foundation of masculine. And I'm not talking about like her looks, because she looks like a feminine, but her nature, her natural inclinations are very masculine. She's also not spiritual. I don't have that many spiritual friends, y'all. But she's not spiritual, so she doesn't really realize that she's radiating this energy of masculine, even though she knows that she's masculine in nature, but she doesn't realize how deep it is. The fact that it is the energetic frequency, I guess, that she is radiating into the world. But like I said, with me, she does it in reverse. She naturally acts from a masculine perspective and reacts from a feminine perspective. And when I say act, like acting from masculine or feminine, like in nature, I mean as naturally inclined, like who you are unconsciously without thinking. So like when I say I am feminine at my core in nature, I mean if I don't think or consciously try to do anything, like I naturally move with the feminine energy. It's when I say react and adjust, right? That is when you're put in a position where you have to consciously assess an external action, right? That's the energy you move with. And it's probably due to experiences, but like when I say I'm feminine in nature, that's my natural way of moving, and I'm not thinking about it. It just is fluidly. When I have to adjust and assess and reevaluate, it's from a masculine energy. And she does like the opposite, the friend that I have. But back to her, because she, like, I feel like if she was picking a pile, like she would have picked pile 1, just because the energy feels like if I had to use a real world experience to incorporate into this reading for all of you, that is the energy. Like that's how it is, because like I said, straight bio woman, but she is a masculine, whether she realizes or not. Part of what makes it intriguing is that she has a deep resentment of masculine energy. Now, again, I know it stems from her being a masculine, not necessarily realizing how to manage that energy, and then society, how society tells you should be. It's just very difficult. But she has a deep resentment of masculine energy, and she has only ever dated feminines. Yes, you heard that correctly. Again, straight bio woman only dates straight bio men with an energetic base of feminine. So that is where I'm going with this. She only dates feminines, but they have to be biological men in her world. So again, it's very interesting. So like if you physically consciously view the relationships in the way that they're structured that she has, she appears to be the feminine, even when, like, even in the gender roles, like if they're like dating, like if we go out for a double date, like her guy will pay for her, and like she'll sit pretty, and it's just like it's very intriguing. But like as a psychic, I'm just watching the dynamic, and like people that aren't psychic, they're like, oh, that's so cute, you know, they're so traditional, this man's taking care of his girl, and like that's how people see it. But in my mind, I'm just sitting at the table watching the masculine and feminine interact. And when I say masculine and feminine, if I said it to the people observing them physically, they'd look at me like I'm crazy, because I would be talking about her as the masculine and him as the feminine. So that's what I mean by the lines kind of blur and everything with that pile. But it's also for every other pile that I do when I'm describing masculine and feminine energies. It doesn't always have to be cut and dry. You're a feminine, you're a masculine. Like for pile 1, I already felt the energy. I already can feel the scenario of there is going to be a scenario like the friend that I described that is masculine in energy, with the dating the men that are feminine in energy. But like and her, like the feminines that are truly masculine at the core, wanting to dominate this feminine bio man, right? And there's also instances where there's a match where like if you take me, there's a feminine and, you know, with a masculine edge, and then there's a masculine with a very feminine edge. That kind of, it could be either one. So like if you were using me, if I were pile 1, I don't know, Um, if you're using me, then maybe I am the person that the masculine with the feminine edge is getting the reading on, and they see me being that energy that I picked up on. Or it could be that masculine with the feminine edge kind of wanting to step more into a masculine approach towards this feminine that has masculine energy as well, right? So like if you're both having a masculine energy, because the feminine with the masculine edge, the masculine with the feminine edge, both of you are trying to act in that masculine way. Okay, I'll stop rambling and wrap this up. So the overall point of this being a topic that really hit me when I was shuffling for this pile is just to show that we all have varying degrees of the masculine and feminine polarities, and just kind of seeing where you fall in any given reading. You may be the masculine, you may be the feminine, or it just depends on not just your nature, but like your dynamic in the coupling. So like I said, for pile one, the person that's being asked about is very clearly the masculine, whether that's by nature or if that's because that is the energy that has been activated in them in the connection. Yep, that's very important, because that person's approach to the way that they're thinking, the way that they're sexually attracted to pile one, they've decided whether they are or not that they will be the masculine. And I needed to clarify how that may look, just so that it would make sense for that pile without me, however long this ends up being, taking over the pile, because I don't want to get off topic with them. Okay, so I will finish shuffling. Yes, because I have tarot cards to shuffle for that pile, and then I'll get into it. Okay. Okay, pile one. After that adventure we just went on, your cards are laid, and I'm ready to go. So, what's their fantasy? Okay, so like I said in that previous section that we had to go off, I guess, on a tangent about, the person you're asking about has decided that they are the masculine in this connection. Now, that's whether that is their nature or if this connection has ignited that energy in them. It could be any variation of similar energies. So if you didn't watch it, I advise you to. I advise everybody to, just because it does help with interpreting my readings, and just understanding how I do them and what I mean. So, but again, you don't have to, but I do think it's helpful. I want to get out of the way that a small group that, depending on how I go about explaining this reading, if you are a straight biological man, depending on how you take this reading, there's a subset of you that are asking about any type of woman, really, because we all come in different variations. Some of you, this is how she secretly fantasizes about you approaching her, but that's a subset of you. A lot of you, this is how the woman you're asking about, this is how she sees you too. But anyway, part of what sparked that topic of that whole masculine and feminine polarity that I talked about before this, was the fact that the energy hopped in immediately. Immediately as I was still shuffling for this pile, because of the people stepping in and how they may identify, or just the energy they embody, because you're all very interesting and I love it. Okay. And And the pile is very interesting, so I love that too. But basically, the person you're asking about, pile one, what's their fantasy? This is the person that wants to be the one to physically insert in the sexual union. So whether that's a physical body part, a dildo, a strap, whatever, the person you're asking about has that energy. It was the first energy that came through immediately before I even finished shuffling. I had not looked at the cards, and I was still trying to get tarot cards. So that was that interesting. Sorry, I think I'm gonna, give me a second. I'm gonna move my work phone out of here because I'm off today. It's a Sunday, and like I have like these automated emails that I did not that I haven't turned the notifications off yet. So I don't want that to be going off during the reading. Okay, that's taken care of. Honestly, that work phone going off might be relevant for some of you because it hasn't gone off yet. So I don't know why, like what notifications I'm getting on a Sunday, but whatever. But yeah, your person's energy of wanting to be the one to dominate and physically insert, whether it's their body part or a dildo, strap, whatever, could be their hands. It's just, it was that heavy, and I didn't want anyone to feel like my readings were only strictly for straight people, because that has never been the case. And I saw lots of combinations of people, and I wanted to make it very clear, just in case you select the reading and it feels like I'm reading from a straight perspective, and it could resonate, but it doesn't feel like it's for you because you don't feel included. I just want to clarify that that is not the case, that my readings are inclusive. Unless I say specifically this pile, if you pick this pile and this is all I see, pick something else, because that happens from time to time. But this pile one is not that kind of reading. So anyway, I'm looking at the cards, and I felt this vibe anyway for the people who's like that, the people wanting to insert, if this is their physical body part that they're trying to use in the fantasy, then this person is packing. Because if you look at the tarot cards, look at all of those wands. Like the Daughter of Wands has like a wand. There's this one main wand on the Seven of Wands. And even the Father of Swords, there's a sword, right? And even on Clean It Up, there's like a duster, right? And it's long, right? So it just, that's the energy of, if this, and even if it's not this person's physical body, that's the type of equipment they're coming through with. So be prepared if it manifests, because this is where the fantasy already is for these people. And if you look at the snake on the Daughter of Wands, it's shaped as infinity, as in never ending. So that is in terms of size, but that's also duration of sex. So they want it to be long, intense, passionate, because you do have that passion card, and they want to take their time with you. So this is a very deep connection. It's not surface level physical, because you have that heart chakra with the passion. You've got the ocean, deep knowing, right? Deep spiritual connection with this person. And you also selected, where is it? It's right here. The rose quartz, right? That's the crystal you selected for this pile. Now that crystal also is good for heart chakra work. So you most likely, based on the energy I'm getting from you, pile one, you probably need to do some heart chakra work, whether it's healing, clearing, opening your heart chakra, because this person recognizes that wound you have there as well, like your trust issues, you being closed off, you not being receptive to love as much as you either perceive yourself to be doing so or as much as you desire. That's part of what's influencing this person's sexual fantasies about you, is because they're familiar with you enough to be able to see how closed off you are, and they fantasize about opening you up. So it's like that is the fantasy, is making you open up more, and it's why they want to be in control. They've assumed that masculine energy sexually. Like they want to see you release and lose control, right? And I'm also seeing that one of you may be younger and or more inexperienced when it comes to life, right? So with that Ocean card, this person truly wants to go deep, but they also want to turn you on, like make you quote unquote wet, right? Whatever arousal is for you. Okay, so if you go back to the tarot cards, you see that Page of Wands, which is Daughter of Wands, is all of the flirting, it's teasing, it's activity. It's the activity getting you ready to have sex, right? Get you going with them. And then it's leaving you in suspense for a while with that Three of Wands. It's like the foundation, like it's laying the foundation for later. And then later they plan to step into that Seven of Wands energy and take you, right? Because then you have the King of Swords, right? And that is a card of them having control over the situation. That is a key part of this person's fantasy when it in regards to sex with you. I mean, I probably, yeah, I'm going to put it in the description box, but this is definitely 18 plus. I don't feel like I have viewers that are underage, but go away. This is for adults. So, yeah, because I didn't say that in that first part, but I'll try to remember to say it in the intro, because I'll film the intro after. Yeah, but this person's wanting control over the situation, control over you, control over your body. And again, that Ocean card, they fantasize about taking you in water. It could be a bath, it could be a pool, jacuzzi, the ocean, lake, any of that, in the shower, just anything like that. And with the cave, they fantasize about having sex with you in any type of hideaway. And there's a song from like some years back called Hideaway that now I'm channeling, so I feel like that's a channeled message for you. I'll find it after the reading and then I'll link it in the description box, because that's definitely a message for you, Power One. But anyway, a hideaway could be a closet, an abandoned room, somewhere hidden and isolated. But honestly, that ocean, cave, and apocalypse combo, it's hypersexual anyway. That's the energy from that row, that section. Okay, so side note, I'm seeing like a fantasy about a beach near the ocean where there are caves. I'm seeing sand, a sunset, and honestly, it's really romantic. This person's fantasies are very romantic. But honestly, I feel like this person's approach to you, if this manifests, or as it manifests, a lot of you it will, some of you it's a fantasy. It may or may not be something this person pursues with you. But this person kind of has to be romantic, because like we talked about, they're trying to open you up because you are hard and closed off. Okay, so like I said, this person fantasizes about softening you up. But back to that sexual, deeply spiritual, transformative experience that is the ocean, cave, and apocalypses. So it's like in the ocean, you're starting with the arousal and it's getting really passionate as you two go long and deep within the ocean, deep within the cave, right? Where you find yourselves at that apocalypse card. And the meaning of that card is removing the veil of deception. So not only is that the peak, the orgasm, but it's your most honest and vulnerable state. That is what this person fantasizes about seeing, your most honest and vulnerable state. This person fantasizes about not only seeing you in this moment, but being the one that creates that moment, being in control, taking you there, right? So lifting the veil and the mask you wear. That's what this person fantasizes about. And that's really deep, okay? This person has lots of fantasies and I love it, but it's deeper than just the sex. This person I feel like this person knows you. Yeah, this is not a new person. They've been in your life for at least a few months, even if the romantic feelings are new. Most of you, it's well beyond that. You've known this person. This may be somebody you're on and off again with, or even if it's not on and off, someone you're back with, or doesn't have to be an ex, or just an evolution of a relationship. Those happen as well. But this person doesn't feel new. They're familiar enough with you and your nature to have fantasies reflective of taming your nature, if that makes sense, or just reacting to you and interacting with you in the way they perceive you to be. I don't think someone new would have the experiences with you to create that type of fantasy. And even if this is a new one, like a new person, they already kind of have like part of their fantasy is how they perceive you to be, like the way they've created, because they don't know you well enough to necessarily know if this is how you are. This is just how they're taking you so far. And they could be well off base, honestly, if they don't know you. But I see that this person, and it works into the fantasy. When it comes to sex, this person is a talker. They fantasize about talking you through the experience. With that King of Swords and that Breathe card, they want to tell you how to position, tell you what to say, ask you questions, tell you when to come. They love the sound of your voice, I'm hearing, and they want to hear you breathe. They want to hear you moan. And I'm seeing that because you have that ocean, you have the apocalypses, even though the gaze in the Father of Swords, this person really loves your eyes. They're mesmerized by your eyes. They get lost in them like the ocean. So, and they also fantasize about being very attentive with their hands, right? Because you see the hands on the cave card. And then you have, the phrases clean it up, mending. So just that's very active and attentive energy. Okay. And I'm seeing like there's lots of moons here. You have you have a subtle, it's very subtle that way that people can pick up on it if they're paying attention, that you have like a very gentle, soft, nurturing side that you don't let people see. And they fantasize about bringing it out because, again, like I said, you do a very good job of hiding it. And I keep hearing a busy signal, like what happens when you leave a landline off the hook. So it's like they feel it's hard to get through to you, and they fantasize about creating the experiences where they do. I'm seeing that they fantasize about oral with you, and they're really turned on by your breasts or your chest area. I'm seeing with that Father of Swords and the Deep Knowing card, you take yourself really seriously. And with all of those fire cards plus the passion, you might have a bit of a temper. So this person recognizes that, or that's how they perceive you to be. And they fantasize about getting you all riled up just to be like, calm down. And either having makeup sex with you or just that frustration translating as sexual desire, and then you two having sex is the release of that pent up aggression, right? And I'm seeing that with the breathe, clean it up, mending combo. So I feel like this was a pretty long reading, but your person had a lot of fantasies, pile one. That's good though, because this is why we get into these readings, to be nosy and to see what's going on. So that is all I have for you today. If this resonated, please like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Okay, pile two. What's their fantasy about you? So, I don't, I'm gonna use a word that I don't have a better word other than like predator, but like I don't feel like this person's like preying on you in a bad way. That's just the energy of how they may feel. Like that's how they perceive themselves in their approach to you. Like if you look at the Venom card, there's like the teeth, the fangs. You've got the serpent. You have the Strength card, which has the lion, but you also have that tiger's eye crystal that you selected. And that's just kind of how this person perceives themselves in their fantasies or in their approach to you. And I do feel some kind of guilt towards it as well. Like they don't really feel that it's necessarily like appropriate. But I'll develop that energy further. But I want to go back to my shuffle. As you can see, the cards are already laid out. But as I was shuffling like the random lyrics and like apparently I'm channeling songs for this reading. For so far pile one I had one, and pile two I had two songs I channeled. So hopefully pile three gets a song at least, because that's something that we're doing today unexpectedly. So I had to look up the song because I couldn't even remember the name of the song because it's like a throwback. But the song is, I heard the words, I want to lick, lick, lick you from your head to your toes. And I knew it was a Ludacris song, but I could not remember which one. And then when I like typed it into Google, I realized, oh, it's What's Your Fantasy. So that's funny that that song channeled for the reading, What's Their Fantasy About You. I'll get into the other song in a second, but it's like, it's very interesting with this Ludacris song, because I feel like this person you're asking about is the type to answer a question with a question. Either that or they're just inquisitive by nature, because we're asking what's their fantasy about you, and the first song channeled is, well, what's your fantasy? Okay, so I don't want to get too deep into the reading because that song has a lot to do with this reading. The second one does too, but let me just get the second one out of the way. The second song I was channeling, I do remember the name of the song. It's called Indulge, and the singer's name is Jones. So the lyric that I channeled, and that was as I was laying out the spread. So like when I was halfway through, I heard the lyric, I'm in danger, but I savor the thrill of you. So it's feeling a bit forbidden. Like I said here, not for everybody. It's not necessarily like somebody's cheating. Some of you probably, but, or planning to, or fantasizing about. But that's not all of you. That's just some of you. The majority of you here, it's the forbidden thing is more like the sexual nature of the connection. And like I said, I'll go into detail with that. But if you look at even the Venom and the Healer at the bottom, it's like this person is so intensely attracted to you that it almost feels wrong, and possibly vice versa. So let me go back to the What's Your Fantasy song, because that's the one that's like, okay, so we're asking what's their fantasy about you, and they're like, well, what's your fantasy? And this, like I said, this person's primary fantasy is to please you. That's their primary, that's the overall energy. Okay. They are down for whatever. And they're, for the most part, open-minded. Okay. So I did pull up the lyrics. And I jotted down some ones that were applicable because, again, I channeled that song when I was shuffling. So I didn't want to take too much time looking it up in real time. So, and the song is a throwback, so I needed to refresh my memory. But, your person is very generous in terms of sharing their fantasy, because in the song, he lists out all of the different scenarios. Like, the whole song is different scenarios of what he wants to do sexually. So if you listen to the song or you pull up the lyrics, like, it's this, your person is open to all that. Okay. All of that. So, but after he lists out all of these scenarios, or as he's listing out these scenarios of what he's fantasizing about in regards to you, he's also asking you what your fantasy is. And not only does your person feel very detail oriented and very much a clear communicator, like upfront about what they desire, what they want, what they plan to do, I'm feeling like this is a person that likes to lead and give instructions as well. But this person, I'll get into it in a second. But I want to touch on this point because the cards are jumping out on me. There was a lyric referencing Dracula and fangs. And like I talked about, like the predator energy, right? That was in the song, which was interesting. And I'm realizing, like, the healer, that's a snake with fangs, venom, that's fangs. So this person views themselves as a predator, like preying on you in a way. And they also may like to bite. That might be like a sexual thing that they like to do. They might be biters, or they might like to be bitten. Again, this person is very comfortable with who they are sexually and very experienced, especially in relation to you. At least that's what it appears their perception is based on their fantasies. But this person, it just, like I said, more open, more experienced sexually than you. And that's why that specific song, the What's Your Fantasy song, channeled, because it feels like full disclosure before they ask, what is your fantasy, right? Like, this is what I do, what I've done, where I've been. I don't feel like you're there. So what are you comfortable with? I feel like that's what that song channeling for this pile means. Okay. Like, this person wants to see, because your comfort is what's most important to them, because you feel very vanilla, pile 2. Like, they don't know what your sexual boundaries are. So the question is, okay, you're asking, what's my fantasy with you? It's wild. What's your fantasy with me? And, you know, maybe we can build up to my fantasies, but like, we need you comfortable first, right? Yeah, definitely. And that's mostly that predatory energy, that forbidden energy that I'm experiencing from this pile. Like I said, some of you, it's just a messy situation. There might be other people involved, but a lot of you, it's just like, I'm almost getting like a 50 Shades of Grey vibe with this pile and the dynamic between you two. And the two songs actually do make sense. So like I said, you don't have to listen to them. You may not like the genre. It might not be, it just depends on who you are and what you like. But the lyrics definitely apply to this pile for both songs. Like the whole songs. But this person, they see you as almost too pure, too innocent, too corrupt. But at the same time, they fantasize about opening you up and teaching you about your sexual nature. Most of you in this pile are feminines. It's true. And this person wants you to go deeper into your feminine, more receptive nature on a sexual level with them. And it's not necessarily like about control like it was with pile 1. It's almost it's not almost, it is about exploration and development of you sexually, right? And the reason why I was able to pinpoint this energy, if you're looking at the card, you can see yourself. You've got divine feminine, you have yin, you have the maiden. I mean, it is what it is. But that's just the energy of the pile. Like they're wanting you to be the receptive one. Not wanting you to. They actually would like it to be more of a give and take from this pile. This person seems to want more of a balance. They just know that you aren't where they are yet for it to be the case. So they know that you're gonna be the one that's more receptive, and they're gonna have to take the lead sexually just because they're more experienced, especially if this manifests physically. Like if this becomes more than a fantasy and you two pursue something physically, then they're gonna need to be the one to take the lead on that because they've experienced it before and you have not. Because even the maiden card is almost virginal energy. Not saying you are, but in relation to this person, you're not as experienced. So I'm seeing that. Okay, so I'm looking at the top, emergence, change, divine feminine. That's exactly the energy that I'm describing, right? So emerging, changing, developing that feminine, that divine feminine side of you. They want to, again, evolve you on a sexual level. And then you have, which is really interesting, you've got the judge, the mirror, and the maiden, like I touched on. But I'm reading that now, they want to watch you touch yourself. So I don't know, some of you may be virgins, honestly, just because they really want to explore. Like, I don't know what energy you're giving off, but they're feeling like you're giving off very virginal at best vanilla energy. Like it's not reading that you're on their level sexually for them. Not saying like their level is better. It's just they're more open, you're more comfortable with, again, being vanilla. It's just, so they're wanting to watch you touch yourself, but they also, that mirror card, they want mirrors around so that you both can watch the sexual experience. Like they want to watch themselves as they be with you. They want to watch you in person, but like, okay, let's say if you're in position and, you know, they're taking you from behind or vice versa, they want to be able to see the face anyway in the mirror. So like they want mirrors all around. Some of them even want to film it, okay? And that's not to share with other people. That's just before YouTube, because this person is also very private, because you've got Four of Pentacles, right? That's stability. Then you've got no place like home. You've got the Peace card. They're not really out and about. Like for the type of things they're in sexually, they're very grounded, stable people. I know sometimes it's easy to judge people and think that, oh, people that are really into hypersexual, what you would perceive as hypersexual, I feel, based on your personality, how to nature, or just alternative sexual acts, or just being just interested in different types of sex, anything that's not vanilla. You kind of have a perception of people interested in that would be a little more wild, but this person is very well put together, very stable, just very comfortable sexually. That's just what it is. But they do often fantasize about having you alone to themselves. So I'm not feeling like you two have been intimate, or even in an intimate situation to a certain degree, because this person's primary fantasy, okay, so it's like a sequence of fantasies, or developing, like it's a development of the relationship over time. Like first I want to do this, then we can evolve to the next step, and we can get a little more into this and that. Like that's what the energy I'm getting from this person. And like in the song, like he's listing all of the things that he's open to sexually, all the ways he wants to have sex, like that is how your person is wanting to eventually explore with you. That's the overall, that's the evolution of the fantasy. But anyway, the first fantasy, the initial energy from this person that's the most dominant, is this person getting you home alone. Like getting you home alone with them. And that's why I don't think you've been intimate, just because the overall energy, like they're fantasizing about getting you home alone with them. Part of the thrill in the fantasy appears to be alone time at home with you and making sure that you're comfortable enough to go there, because again, they don't see you as sexually experienced, even if you are. Either that, or they know or perceive themselves as, again, more sexually liberated than you. Okay, so no place like home, yin, peace. It's all about comfort, being receptive. It's a very gentle, delicate, and sweet sexual experience with you, at least the first time, okay? And this person is holding back because if you look at the tarot cards, you've got that chaos and the Five of Wands stabilizing into that Four of Pentacles. And it looks like they're compromising the intensity of their energy with that Two of Swords and Strength card, because they're holding back because, again, they aren't sure what your sexual boundaries are. Okay. Now, I'm also seeing lots of other combinations. Like I'm seeing, the bowl and yin. There's an egg on that peace card. And that's complementing the image of that serpent and that egg on the healer. So if this applies, you might want to watch it, okay? Because this person fantasizes about unprotected sex with you and the sensation of coming in you or you coming in them. So even the words the venom and healer imply that. It's just really giving me fertilized egg energies. Not saying I see a pregnancy. I'm just saying some of you, that person is fantasizing about getting you with child. Just depends on if it applies. So yeah, it's the person feels like a predator lusting after you, which is hilarious to me, because I now I feel like I want to meet you, pal, too. Like what type of energy are you giving that this person's like lusting after you, but they feel like it's a terrible thing that they should do? Like, are you somebody's teacher? You know, like what's going on? Somebody's boss? Like what's going on? What's the backstory as to why they feel like, because I hear the words turning you out. So why is that inappropriate if you're two consenting adults? Let me know why, because I'm nosy. But anyway, I don't have anything else for you, pile number 2. If this resonated, please like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Okay, pile 3, what's their fantasy about you? And honestly, I think you may be the simplest pile. And I see lots of details, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm gonna go into detail, but I don't know if you're gonna need me to go as deeply as the other two, which isn't a bad thing. It's just straight to the point. So the other two piles had channeled songs unintentionally, so I didn't want you to feel left out. So as I was shuffling, I was like, I need a song. So I felt pressured, which I feel like your person does feel under pressure, which, okay, that might be a channeled song. Boom, you get 2. Let me write that down so I don't forget to put that in the description, because that came out of nowhere. Okay, so you got 2 songs. So the way I got your first song was, that first card, Remembrance, popped out, and so I heard Do you remember the time when we fell in love, which is the Michael Jackson song, Remember the Time. So I'm going to link those two songs in the description box. I'm familiar with Remember the Time by Michael Jackson, but I don't know the exact lyrics to Under Pressure. So that's an adventure you're going to go on and see how that song applies to this connection and this person's fantasy. Yeah. So outside of that, you've got the two channeled songs. And now that I've laid the cards out, I'm looking at the spread. Okay, so there's two groups of you. And you can be in both. It's not like you have to pick one. It's just different experiences. So some of you, this person is reminiscing about your past sexual encounters. Others of you, this person is incorporating past memories with you into their fantasies. That's different. I mean, it's not different, but to come up in a reading, it's a bit different. So basically, like if they're incorporating past memories into their fantasies, it's like if in the past you two were hanging out and they fantasize about what would have happened if they had made their move, if they had kissed you, and then the sexual fantasy begins. You know what I mean? Like how if they could have taken that experience further. There's lots of communication, thinking, and mental energy with this pile. Like themes of those things. Yeah, you have the literal, like you do have the literal communication card, but you also have remembrance and consciousness. Those are mental energies. And there's a lot of blue energy too for like throat chakra, because you even picked the blue crystal. It's just a heavy emphasis here on past experiences in this person's fantasies, especially with that Six of Cups here. So with blessed and never-ending story, this person feels really good, or did at least at one point, when they're around you, and they wish you would never leave or would never have left. And they can't stop thinking about you. That's why they keep incorporating their memories with you. Well, they keep replaying these memories with you and evolving them into sexual experiences. So it's like key moments in conversations, they develop them further. Like even if like whatever situation you were in where you either were talking or you were just together, that didn't turn into a sexual experience, part of their fantasizing about you is that they develop a sexual experience from that encounter, if that makes sense. So, and there's also an energy of I missed my chance with that never ending story, or it could just be like an energy of I missed that experience if it happened already. This person definitely fantasizes about long durations of sex with you. And I feel like they want to travel. I don't know why I'm getting a traveling energy from this pile, but like they want to take trips with you. But I'm seeing some of you here aren't even in communication. Not all of you, not even most of you, but some of you aren't in communication with this person. And that's why you have all of this communication and these memories coming up. Like this person misses you and they want to talk to you, and they're wondering what would happen if they would just initiate contact with that Judgment card and that Ace of Wands. Like they're wondering if you'd be receptive, but they're kind of scared because of that shadow and the storm. They're afraid to contact you because they don't know how you would take it, but they do miss you deeply. And like I'm seeing that regardless of who this person is or what your past experiences are with them, if you're in communication or not, this person fantasizes about having sex with you under the sky, especially themes of the night sky with the shadow. And like I said, all of the fantasies I'm describing, they don't necessarily have to be purely fantasies. There's a heavy theme of memories here. So what I'm describing could be memories, things that have actually happened, or things that this person fantasizes about that they hope will happen, or situations you two were in where it didn't become a sexual experience that this person wishes had. Okay, that's how this is going with this pile specifically. So this person may be a child, you may be childhood sweethearts, because your channeled song in that Six of Cups. Some of you, this person may have been your first in everything. They may have been your first kiss, your first sexual experience, or anything of that nature. But again, that's not even most of you. There's just some of you tapping in with that energy. But this person is fantasizing about, like, this person, like, this pile isn't it's not overly sexual. This person, like, I'm getting sexual fantasies and such from this person, but it's not necessarily sexual acts. So this person is fantasizing about sexual experiences with you, like experiencing you sexually, not necessarily those, like, any specific sexual act. So hopefully that makes sense. Outside of that, the kiss card being there and them thinking about kissing you specifically, I don't see any specific sexual acts coming from this person. It's very pure energy and, like, kind of almost melancholy, missing you, like a desire, wanting to be with you energy. So, like, this person fantasizes about being in a cabin in the mountains with you, sitting under or having sex with you under a tree, right? In the rain, or being intimate with you during a storm, possibly like being in a cabin in the mountains at night with a storm, just because all of the combinations of cards I'm seeing, like them wanting to, like, they have a whole set thing, like maybe they want to plan a trip with you, or they're hoping that they can take a trip with you to a cabin in the mountains. They're hoping that, you know, a storm happens, not too drastic, but just enough to set the mood. You know, even with that Ace of Wands, maybe start a fire. Like, they're really trying to create, like, when they fantasize about being with you sexually, it's an experience. It's a whole vibe. It's not, oh, we're going to just, you know, have sex. It's, I want to go here, set the mood, set the tone, right? So I'm also seeing that this person likes old things. So they fantasize about having sex with you in, like, situations relating to antiques or just old things. So they may want to have sex with you in old abandoned areas, historical places. Like, that's part of the fantasy that they have about you. But I mean, outside of that, outside of them fantasizing relating to memories, having that cabin in the mountains, outdoor night storm fantasy, it's pretty cut and dry. A lot of you, this person just kind of wants to make a move. So they have that consistent fantasy, or groups of fantasies, but they really kind of want to, I'm seeing a heavy emphasis on wanting to approach you and talk to you. So whether this is a person from the past, or a person, like a crush situation that is reminiscing on just day-to-day encounters with you, that is evolving those, and then eventually creating a fantasy of maybe one day taking a trip. This person wants to talk. I do kind of expect this person to come forward just because of the nature of the energy of this pile. This person is probably going to approach you in some way. I know that's not the reading, but that's just what it says. So I don't have anything else. So if this resonated, please like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.